Joining us now is Senator James Lankford from Oklahoma. Senator Lankford, welcome back to the program. You're on the Homeland Security Committee and the Intelligence Committee, which gives you a broader insight into security issues. You've said that you're convinced Russia is behind the hacking. And what do you think of these new allegations that the Kremlin has compromising information on Donald Trump?
You know, I've read through the intelligence information about the hacking and the background information. I'm very convinced that the Russians are engaged in the hack and the attack. I'm also very convinced they had no effect on the election. They weren't involved in changing votes or any of that kind of stuff. They were just putting out propaganda. When I read the report and all the details of this latest compromising information from the Russian, it sounds like it was written by a 15-year-old when you actually read the information. So I am absolutely not convinced any of that is authentic. They say this is some unnamed sources, the unnamed source also has unnamed sources, and they put it out. This looks like fake news to me when you actually read it and go through it. There are factual errors that are in it. There are things that are verified to not be accurate. And I have not met anyone in the intelligence community that actually thinks that information is real.
Well, Donald Trump is also highly critical of U.S. intelligence agencies. Do you think that that criticism is valid?
I don't, actually. I think these are men and women that work exceptionally hard. They can't always get it right. They get their best judgment. And when you do intelligence operations, you're gathering information about what's happening around the world, the risks that we face. You put those ideas together and you put a low, medium, or high probability that this is accurate. But you can never know 100% because obviously you're not in the head of some other leader internationally. And so I think they do a very good job of gathering it together. And it's amazing to me to meet some of the men and women that serve around the world in the intelligence community. They literally serve Americans every single day, put their lives on the line every single day, just like our military and our law enforcement do. But they don't wear a uniform, and most Americans will never be able to say thank you to them for what they do for our country.
Let's move on to the Department of Homeland Security. John Kelly, who is Trump's nominee to head that department, has said securing the border will be one of his top priorities, but it requires more than a wall, and it could be a layered defense. In your opinion, what needs to happen first in securing our border?
No, I think he's accurate on the layered defense part of it. And I was a part of that hearing yesterday when we actually had him on the stand, and he and I have also visited in the office. He's a tremendous leader, been a tremendous general, and he understands what it means to be able to protect, for instance, a forward operating base somewhere in hostile territory. You not only have a wall around that operating base, but you also have maybe a smaller fence. You also have people in it. You have some sort of cameras and security. What he described was very similar of what we would have in the border, that we would have in some places physical barriers where that makes total sense. In many places, cameras or watchtowers, but it's always about people that it can actually engage in this. When you've got a border as long as we have in the north and in the south and our maritime borders, that will involve a lot of technology, being able to scan and to be able to try to pick up people in the area. But then we have to have great team members that can actually interdict those individuals when they try to move into our country illegally. So he described that multiple layers on that. It will take that multiple layers to actually go through the process. The easiest first step to do is training. And that's right. The easiest first step to do is the people side of it, to make sure that we're actually putting the people in the right spot and then making sure we're getting the equipment around them to be able to help them.
Before we go, I know that you are staunchly pro-life, and the defunding of Planned Parenthood is at the top of the agenda, especially when it comes to repealing Obamacare. Some senators, including Susan Collins, have said that they are going to fight the defunding of Planned Parenthood. How do you think you and or your colleagues are going to change their minds?
So there are two aspects of this. We've got to have 51 votes to be able to do two different things right now on Planned Parenthood. One is to defund Planned Parenthood. That's the Medicaid portion of it. It's about 2/3 of their funding. And then there's a regulation that the administration has put in place in just the last couple of months preventing states from defunding Planned Parenthood within their state-owned Title X funds. We also can get with a 51 vote that to give the states the right to be able to defund Planned Parenthood in their own state. So I would expect in the months ahead that we'll have two separate votes dealing with Planned Parenthood. One is the national level funding. The other one is allowing states to also defund as well as they choose to. But I would remind everyone, Planned Parenthood does 300,000 abortions a year of the 1 million. Defunding Planned Parenthood doesn't solve the life issue. It obviously helps promote life again, and it's the right thing to be able to do. But we have to keep our eye on the ball. Long term, this is really about life, not just Planned Parenthood. This is just one step in a long process.
Okay, thank you. Senator James Lankford, Homeland Security Committee and the Intelligence Committee, Republican from Oklahoma. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.